everybody, it's Wootini from GayGamer.net here with another one of my video podcasts. This week, the big news is the launch of the Nintendo 3DS, which, I love. Nintendo had its big launch event in New York City. The official launch was at the Best Buy in Union Square on 14th Street, and to start with, in the afternoon on Saturday, they had a special event where they had a whole section set up in the center of Union Square Park where you could come and check the system out. They had a whole bunch of tables set up with demo units on them, and then there were people just milling about with 3DSs attached to them so that, you couldn't walk off with them. And then they had beanbag toss for whatever reason. I don't quite know what that has to do with 3D. Beanbags coming at you? I don't know. But they had a beanbag toss game. I thought maybe you could, like, win a prize or something, like a t-shirt, but nobody was kind of organizing that. People were just sort of picking them up and playing and then wandering off. And there wasn't a huge crowd, but it was in the park, so it's not, people just sort of milling in and milling out. There wasn't like a line to get into it or to try them or anything. People were just sort of milling up and, checking them out. There was already a line at that point at the Best Buy outside. They had the barricades set up. Everything was all, like, set up for them. And, the guy who was first in line was Isaiah Triforce Johnson, who's famous. He's the guy who was in line first for the Wii. So he was, of course, first in line for the 3DS. He was there since Monday. Obviously, he had help. People traded places with him, because you're not going to stand outside of a Best Buy on 14th Street for a week. But then the group right behind him were from SOSgamers.org, and they were using one of the 3DSs that they were picking up. They were going to raffle off for charity all afternoon, in line and online. From their website, they were auctioning off for $5 donation. You could get a raffle ticket to try to win one of the 3DSs they picked up, and the proceeds went to Save the Children for Japan Relief, which is a very worthy charity. So while that raffle's over, you can still go to their site and contribute for them anyway. There were also other people in line, and talking to them, I found out that they gave out wristbands. Starting Friday night, people had already started to form a line, so they gave out wristbands, giving you a number, which secured your place in line so you could go home and sleep in the warmth. And I talked to somebody who said that he'd already gone back to his dorm and warmed up, and then put pajamas on under his clothes so that he could have another layer, because it was chilly. I think that Nintendo rightfully assumed that at the end of March they could have an event in the park, and have people standing outside of Best Buy in line until midnight, and it would be perfectly fine. Unfortunately, we're having an unseasonably chilly start to spring here in New York City, so yeah, it was cold. Really cold. And people were getting a little cranky. They had a whole setup for everybody in line, and when I came back in the afternoon, that wasn't really functioning yet. They had the demo station set up, but when I came back that night, the line had expanded, although it wasn't nearly as big as I expected it to be. The Pokemon launch, you saw that video. I had to edit it down to fit it in the podcast, though it was up on my YouTube channel in its entire 4-minute length. It went down to the end of the block, around the corner, up that block, and then halfway down the block again. It was massive. And when I did that walk, people at the end of that line didn't get the game because they cut the line off. They only sold it for a few hours on Saturday. So that sucks for them. But here, the line, I tried to do the line walk. I went down to the end of the line. I went to turn the corner, and they had a whole section set up with more demo stations and food and whatever, and it was empty and barren, and it looked sad. And I think they were expecting the line to go around the corner, and it did not. Granted, a lot of the line was clustered up towards the front, where they had a stage because Reggie got up to speak a couple times, so they were, you know, pushing up towards the front, so the back, they didn't really have it. But I can show you the entirety of the line walk here in the podcast, and I don't even know how many people were there. I'm not good at estimating. I would say maybe like over 100, but maybe not 200. I don't know, maybe 200? I'm not really good at estimating. I was never very good at that in math class. I always had to actually do the problem and then round up or down to make it look like I estimated. I wasn't good at guessing. But they had a food truck, you could get hot dogs and tacos and whatever, and it was, you know, keep people fed and happy. They had demo stations, they had bathrooms, they had porta potties. Very, very important. The demo stations, you could try it before you bought it. I mean, but everybody in line was pretty much already gonna get it. They were just, you know, having fun with it, I suppose. I don't think they sold anybody on it there. I think they already wanted it. But the line wasn't that long. And they were also getting a little chilly and cranky. Then, you know, around, I'd say 11, Reggie got up and he made a little speech to rile up the crowd.
How you all doing? Wow. This is what Best Buy and Nintendo is all about, right? It's about you, the passionate gamer, the gamer who wants to be here and have a great experience, and we are just thrilled to have you all here tonight. I want to pay a special tribute to our partners at Best Buy. This is a very special opportunity for us to be here at the official first sale of Nintendo 3DS here in the Americas, here in Union Square. We appreciate everyone's enthusiasm and thank you for being a part of history, because tonight the Nintendo 3DS will turn the page in gaming history. And let me tell you what I mean, right? Playing in monochrome was great. Remember Game Boy and monochrome, okay? But that was the 80s. Playing in color was great, but that was the 90s. And until tonight, you could only see games in 2D or the occasional 3D, but you had to wear those funky glasses, right? Who wants to wear those funky glasses? Right? I don't know about you guys, but I've been told it's not my best look. Just like those glasses in that picture. Not my best look, right? Yeah. So, it's 2011, and we're ready for something new, right? We're ready for something new. So, let's get rid of the old and seize the new. Tonight, the era of 3D glasses ends right here and right now. Right? So, as you may have heard before, Nintendo 3DS is more than just games, right? It's 3D photography, it's 3D videos, it's taking 3D pictures, but games are the centerpiece. And you'll be playing games installed on the system. You'll be doing that right out of the box, right when you buy it. And at the same time, it's important to remember that walking out of the store is just the beginning of the experience. Once you connect to the internet, more good things will happen. And there's already an update available right now. And when you do that update, you'll get a wonderful 3D music video by the band OK Go. There's going to be another update coming in May, and that's going to be a whole new exclusive gateway to all kinds of different 3D content. A huge library of nostalgic as well as brand new games. But that's in the future. Right now, hold tight, because we're getting closer to opening the doors here at the Union Square Best Buy and starting a whole new era of 3D gaming without the glasses, right? Nintendo 3DS, just a few moments away. Thank you all. Thanks for being here. Mike, thank you. And we'll see you soon.
And then things got subdued again because it was, like I said, about 30 degrees and people were getting really chilly. And they were passing out beanies, hoodies, t-shirts and stuff. People had like hoodies on over their coats, and everybody was wearing the 3DS beanies to try to keep warm. People were wearing the beanies and then their own hats and stuff. They were all layered. And then, like, close to midnight, they started to let the beginning of the line in to the store, so they could get people set up to start buying it right at midnight. But also at midnight, Reggie came back out on stage to do the final countdown, and then they had the 3D glasses that they had passed out to the crowd, and Reggie led them in a symbolic tossing away of the glasses to welcome in the era of glasses-free 3D gaming.
Alright! Are you guys ready? Alright, so we have a choice to make. You could either listen to me talk some more, or we could just open up the doors and get right at it. What do you think? Alright? Alright. So that's how I vote too. Now, before we do this, we've got one last thing. We need to give a proper send-off to the 3D world that you had to experience through these, right? I don't know about you, but I am not going to miss these things at all. So, we're going to do this the right way. I'm going to turn it back over to Trent, and we're going to kiss these glasses goodbye.
Thanks, Reggie. So, here's how it's going to go down. Let's take our 3D glasses, like this, raise them up over our heads. Let me see them. Up there, up there. Let me see them. So we're going to count down from 10. When we get to 1, let's take these things and throw them up in the air as high as we possibly can. Let's say goodbye to 3D glasses and hello to Nintendo 3DS. Fold them up, fold them up. Nice and tight. There we go. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then it was time to go inside the store where you could buy the stuff, and they had everything all set up. Lots of games, accessories, the actual DS, blue or black, take your pick. And of course, Isaiah Triforce Johnson got his very first sale, direct from Reggie himself for the photo op and everything.
Thank you so much.
And that's about it. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe this would have been a bigger launch if Nintendo had waited until May to do it. Not that I would have wanted them to, because I love it, and I think it's great. But right now, there's a button for the internet web browser that doesn't do anything because that's not coming until the system update at the end of May, which is also going to bring the eStore with the Virtual Console and the Game Boy games, plus the ability to transfer over all your software from your DSi or DSi XL onto your 3DS. So right now, there's a whole section of features that just isn't accessible. And that's not going to be accessible until, like, May. And I think if they'd waited till then they also might have had, like, a AAA first-party title out. I think by then Zelda will be out. They announced a Mario title, but that's clearly not going to be out for a while, because they just announced it. Mario Kart, maybe that could have been ready by May? I don't know. But right now, all they've got is Nintendogs. That's not a system seller. I mean, it is for me. I love Nintendogs. But that's just me. And I'm actually having a lot of fun with Pilot Wings. It's strangely addictive. It's got that one more time kind of gameplay where you do it and you're like, no, I can get a better score one more time. You know, so I just keep going back to it to try to get a better score. But that's also not a system seller. And then Steel Diver is not a system seller. I don't even know if the game's going to sell, let alone nobody's going to buy a system for it. But if they waited until May, they might have had something that would sell some systems. Because I know a lot of people are waiting for the 3DS. They're like, oh, it's cool, but I'm going to wait until there's something I want to play on it. Because, I mean, as cool as Street Fighter is, they're like, it's not worth buying a system for. And it isn't, really. It is a great game. If you're buying it, I recommend it, but don't buy the system for Street Fighter, because, you know, whatever. The other thing is, I feel like they sort of botched the marketing of it. I feel like the way to sell the 3DS is to get it into people's hands, because, I mean, not that I've seen TV commercials or magazine ads or much publicity for it, but the 2D publicity is not going to sell the 3DS. You need to see it and experience it in 3D. And honestly, like, that's... when you see it, you're sold on it, and it's amazing. But they didn't get it into people's hands. I mean, they should have had demo units in stores, Best Buys, Walmarts, Targets, GameStops, Nintendo World. That should have been in, like, January. They should have had demo units out. But I think that I read that they just put demo units into Best Buys, like, a few weeks ago. And I mean, when I was at Nintendo World for the Pokemon launch a few weeks ago, there was no 3DS demo units there. There are now. Now that the system is out, there's 3DSs out to play with, to sell it to people, but it's too late. Those should have been out in January, because then, by March, you would have had at least a couple of months of people saying to people, word of mouth, going, hey, did you see this? It's really amazing. Look at that. You know, and people wandering into Walmarts and Targets and GameStops, and everybody would have seen it, because once you see it, you get it. And then you might want to go buy it. But until you've seen it, yeah, nobody cares. So, I feel like, you know, they should have probably gotten demo units out in stores a lot sooner. Maybe now that it's out, the word of mouth will spread, sales will continue, and it will actually turn out to be a really amazing, fast-selling console, that handheld that, you know, will do really well for Nintendo. I hope, because I really love it, and I want it to get lots of games and be their new big thing. I want it to be supported. But right now, I don't know, because that line wasn't very long. And when we left Best Buy, there was a GameStop around the corner that had no line at all, and I think people from that Best Buy could have gone into that GameStop. They could have just gotten out of line instead of waiting for another half hour to get into the store. They could have just gone around the corner to GameStop and bought one and gone home. Unless, being GameStop, you'd walk in and they'd go, oh, did you pre-order it? I'm sorry, we only have enough for pre-orders, because that's what they do. We'll see what happens. I understand that I read somewhere that it got, the pre-orders on the 3DS were actually greater than that for the Wii, so that's a good sign. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I love it still. I'm having a great time with it, and I play it constantly. It hasn't given me any headaches or crossed eyes or blurred vision, so fingers crossed that that won't happen. I'm really putting it to the test. But that's about it for this week, and I will see you next week when we'll talk about something. I don't know what. There's no events, launches, releases, anything. So it'll be a mystery. I guess we'll find out next week, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye!